Jack Say, Isaac Gibbons.
Yes,
Present.
Mark Boris.
Welcome.
Full name to start.
Thank you very
for
much.
having us.
You
We're
like
stoked
it?
to be here.
Yeah, I like it. And already I can get a sense you guys are quick. And,
We said your name straight away.
and naturally funny too. by the way.
Okay. Oh wow.
And I'm going to talk
No
about that
pressure.
sort of stuff too. Being naturally funny, building a brand, and the mechanisms used to build that brand, and probably really importantly how you monetize it into
There you
that.
go. There it is.
Thank you very much. Yes, Smartass toilet paper.
That's it.
Right there.
So we'll come back
In
to
your
that.
face.
It's
Yeah.
a good crinkle sound, good crinkle
Yeah, that
factor.
sounds
High
good.
quality crink.
That feels very COVID-y.
Yeah. Well, we started at COVID, actually.
We were born of COVID.
Yeah.
Really?
We were friends beforehand, and then COVID allowed us to start creating things together because we just couldn't work or had more time.
Was the idea of the toilet papers because you suffered down you guys Victorian, aren't you?
We're Victorian. Yeah.
Did you
can
suffer?
tell from the tan, probably.
I can tell. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm from New South Wales, but I do recall that a lot of my staff that I have down in Victoria were talking about the Russian of the Dunny paper.
Sure.
I mean, was that something you actually experienced?
That was the reason. We were hanging out in peak COVID, and we went to Coles to check out the lack of toilet paper. And when we were there, we filmed our first ever comedy thing.
For real?
For real. So it's like this crazy full circle moment for people that are listening. We have started a toilet paper brand. And so it's like this kind of weird universe colliding, everything lining up.
It's like a full circle.
Full circle is the word, yeah.
Big time. Full
Yeah.
toilet roll circle.
Yeah.
Well, they are. They're circular too. So, okay, let's just go back a little bit.
Okay.
So, when did you first meet? 20 what?
When we first met,
20,
Oh, you've known each other for a long time.
2004.
grade 3.
Oh, you grew up together.
Grew up
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
hundred meters down the road from each other.
You're shitting me.
No. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Very
No,
good.
I'm serious.
You should be on the branding team.
No,
Know
should
anything
be.
about branding?
A little bit. I don't think as much as you guys, particularly for your audiences. So, and I do want to talk about that. So, but I just get a quick background on you. So, you guys met each other at school.
Correct, yeah.
Were you both part of some sort of drama section or something like that, or were you just naturally into it?
Well, pretty lack of a drama background for both of us. We went to primary school and high school together, and then uni very briefly. But no, we were pretty sport and music inclined, and we were always making dumb videos in class, which the teachers told us off for. But look at us now, turned it into a job. But no drama between us until COVID.
What was it that inspired you, apart from the fact you could see that there was a lack of toilet rolls in the Coles or whatever it was?
Well, I mean, you had been away for a few years. Like Isaac.
Did you go to jail?
No, not in the joint, but in the Canada snow joint.
In the prison of fun and snow and snowy mountains. It was hard to escape from as well.
And I'd kept studying through those previous 3 or 4 years or whatever. And then when COVID came back, everyone sort of came back home.
Yeah.
And we were just hanging out again like we were teenagers. And that sort of gave fertile ground for us to start being creative and being silly like we were when we were kids. And then it sort of got a roll on from there.
Jack had the education experience. I had more of the life experience, and that was just a great combination.
Great combination.
Yeah.
But did who called who up and say, there's something going on here at Coles, or you decided, or Woolworths, wherever it was you went to, or you just decided to go and you actually made a positive decision to go and do something about what was going on the shelves of the supermarkets?
It was a time filler. We were that bored. Lockdown in Victoria, for people that don't know, was quite harsh. When we were, how old were we? 23 or something. And it was like, we're looking for things to do. And we're like, let's go see the empty shelves. That's how lack of.
It would be great if there was a more intentional origin story, but the reality is we just whipped the phone out when because we probably hadn't seen each other in a couple of months because, you only get to see your friends very rarely during COVID. So we were together, we were all high on the friend juice and hanging out again. And so we just whipped the phone out and we downloaded TikTok, which we had no experience with, and filmed a video right then and there, and then woke up the next morning and it had gone viral.
Well, because a lot of people don't realize unless you lived in Victoria, you couldn't travel more than 5Ks, and you could only travel for essentials. And going to the supermarket is essentials.
It's one of the only allowed activities.
You can just say, "Look, I'm going to buy toilet paper." Or whatever.
My friend happens to be here as well.
Hang
out for 45 minutes.
So you use these things to connect.
Exactly.
Okay, and let's go and do something funny.
It was like going down to the pub for a beer. Hey, do you want to go down to the supermarket for a stroll down the aisles?
So you got together during COVID period and you did something. What happened? And what did you do and what happened?
It was, wouldn't this be a funny thing? Or this feels fun. Film it. And then back then, like our ability to edit something together or even put in enough effort to make it more than just like off the cuff stuff it was pretty rudimentary. So we would just put things up and people started. I remember on one of the first videos, the thing that I think gave us a bit of fire was someone commented and said, "Oh, these guys remind us of Leno and Woodley," which is an absolutely crazy thing to say. But that was like, hang on.
Like, we got some.
Well, it was just like, oh, well, let's just keep doing this. Because if that's a response that someone had, maybe they're joking. It doesn't matter. It was enough of a fire to go, well, let's just keep trying.
So what happens after that? So you do one.
Yeah.
Put up on TikTok or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
Was it TikTok?
TikTok originally, yeah.
Yeah. And didn't edit anything, but just bled it straight in, nice and crude.
Sure.
The way it looked.
Mm-hmm.
Got some responses. And then you're sort of sitting at your individual homes or wherever you're living. And then one of you or both of you just got on the phone and said, look, that was unbelievable. Let's do it again. Is it as simple as that?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, we had the luxury of time a bit more during COVID. So after the first video, we said, hey, this is easy. We've had 100% success rate. Let's just do it again. And then, alas, we put up 4 or 5 and they didn't go as well. So we started thinking, okay, we're one trick pony,
cheat code,
one hit wonder sort of thing. Yeah. And then we did another one that just it kind of leaned into the Australiana vibe a bit more, and that seemed to resonate with people, and that sort of was our first seriously viral video. So we sort of kept learning and taking what we learned from our first video and from that video and sort of kept honing it in and trying to figure out how to recreate that.
That's interesting. So episodes 2, 3 and 4 and maybe 5 didn't work so well. Episode 6 went better. What did you discover was your shtick? What did it become? What did you work out? The Australiana thing. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, it was a pretty, and still is an ever-evolving thing, but we sort of found that what worked for us was trying as many different avenues as possible. Initially, we sort of, like with the Australiana stuff, was kind of Aussie slang and Aussie just relatable Aussie lifestyle content. And we found that resonated with people, but we didn't want to tunnel ourselves into just being the Aussie larrikin characters. We wanted to be able to appeal to everyone, different countries, different demographics. So we sort of just tried moving away from the Australian stuff and trying a bunch of different like themes and joke styles and video styles. And then we found that what worked for us was if we tried as many different types of videos as possible, then we would have the most amount of data that we could sort of analyze and say, well, what worked about this? What worked about this? This was relatable. This was outside and looked nice. This had a lot of people involved. And we sort of took all those pillars of success in a video and tried to apply that to a more generalized approach.
Back then, AI was not what it is today. I guess you weren't feeding stuff into AI.
No.
It's just but use your own intelligence, so to speak.
Well, we love numbers and we have heat maps on these pillars that Isaac just explained. So we would line those all up and then views on the videos that had those characteristics.
Yeah.
And you can create a heat map. So when we're ideating now, we can very quickly go, well, do we like that idea? One, but also let's put it on the heat map. And then we can sort of guesstimate where it will land in interaction or views or things like that, because we have enough data now from doing it for 4 or 5 years or whatever.
How many silos in your heat map did you have? Do you remember at the start?
I mean, at the start, it was probably more like a less written down version of this. So we probably had 4 or 5. It was
more instinctive. You guys knew in your brain.
Exactly. And then a year or so later, we put it in Excel and made it official, and then there was probably 12 or 15 pillars that we would aim for or know what level of engagement they would return.
Yeah, so over time you learnt what worked, and then over time you were able to sort of describe each one of those things which you knew were different, but you were able to put them into 12 to 15 categories.
Yeah. Then
that sort of informed you when you're preparing to do the next skit or the next whatever it is. We got to make sure it's in one of the. We want to make sure it fits within one of those 12 to 15 categories,
or ticking as many of those pillar boxes as possible,
or maybe more than one category.
Yeah, because it was less so a major theme for the video, and more so a pillar that could be included, whether it's location based or the people involved or how it starts, how it ends, the duration, those kind of things. So you can try and aim for 5 or 6 of them in one video, and
it's sort of mathematical.
Yeah,
I mean,
or algorithmic.
Yeah,
is better.
Well, Isaac has
Economics.
Economics. I was going to say commerce. We both like that data and sciencey stuff. So we sort of naturally, Isaac especially gravitated towards finding ways to analyze what we were doing, because then you just get a more of a return for your investment. It's like, I suppose,
in terms of time.
And I suppose to bring it back to like a business thought, since we're on this sort of a
that's what it is.
It's like the beautiful thing about it in the early days is you could have MVP, like a minimal viable product, so quickly and so often. And you hear of these companies who say that's the important thing to keep trialing. Like, don't guess what people want, or don't ask them what they want. Just show them things and they'll tell you. And that kind of it feels like we built that for such a low investment early on, and you just create this kind of this data center where now you can sort of not bank on things doing well, but you just have a much higher chance of knowing if it'll go well or not.
Would you actually see that as your IP? Those 12 to 15 categories? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe.
In a way, I suppose.
I mean, it is.
It informs a lot of our decisions.
I'm not talking about registrable shit. Like, but I'm just saying your own actual intellectual property.
It's closer to the 11 secret herbs and spices.
It's KFC coded, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Same deal.
But the really interesting thing is we can watch someone else's video on social media or whatever platform people upload on, and you can go, well, how does that stack up against our data? And you can, it works. A lot of consistency that you see. Have they used our pillars? Yes, no, maybe. That will indicate whether that video does well or not.
And we did that analysis for other people as well, and incorporated some of their pillars of success into our video.
Mates.
Yeah, other people in the same
peers.
Yeah,
peers. Oh, of course. So, I mean, that's interesting. So you're saying it's not specific to you. Then you're saying these so-called pillars, 10, 15, whatever they are, or just let's call them categories, or maybe more importantly, your recipe, your algorithm, is equally applicable to other people who are either successful or unsuccessful. In that, the unsuccessful people are not hitting off those 10 to 12 or 10 to 15 pillars, but the successful ones are too. So that's sort of like affirmation for you too.
Yeah, that was great to feel like it could be universally applied.
Yeah.
I suppose it's like if you're running a restaurant and you're like, is the wait staff on board? Does the kitchen have all the stock? Is the timing right? All this kind of stuff. It's like, it feels like it can be coded in a similar way.
Yeah, it is coding. I mean, it's fun. I was just thinking when you're talking about it, it's a bit like when you see the restaurant, it's a bit like if you're going to cook spaghetti bolognese, there's probably globally, 5 ingredients you must have in spaghetti bolognese for it to work.
Yeah.
But then those little extra ingredients is what makes it your own. And those are probably the pillars or the categories that we have that don't really apply to our peers.
Anyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if I go back to 2020, whenever it was, that you did your first TikTok thing and you were thinking about this, at what stage did you start to think, what we are building here is something we want to turn to a business? In other words, something with this, it actually is algorithmic, it is our recipe, it is our intellectual property, it is something we're going to take to market to try and, build a product off the back of, or just build an audience at least.
It was never thought of as like, this is a business opportunity, because we come from relatively, not straight backgrounds, but, we went to school together, and it's like, then you go to university and then you find your qualification. That seems to be what our families and
the normal process.
The normal process, as most Aussies listening to this probably had.
Yeah.
And, we both obsessed over people like Barry Humphries and John Cleese and the two Ronnies and all these guys, but you never really think that you can enter into that world in a serious way. That's kind of like pie in the sky sort of stuff. So it was never, when we started, it was never like, this is our in. Because you didn't really think about it that way until you do it long enough, and then you go, okay, no, there is financial opportunities, and you go, okay, then you can start to see how you would monetize it on a longer term basis.
So you didn't start this off to say, how can we monetize ourselves being popular and funny? But when you became popular and funny and liked and watched and listened to, etc., then you said, shit, how do we monetize this? Was that the process?
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. I mean, we'd both run businesses before this and things like that. So it wasn't foreign to how to deal with money and accounting and making a business work and be profitable. But again, it felt like anyone who we knew that was in this business, it was just like, wow, what a privilege it would be to be in that world. And it almost felt impossible to do. It was only, when the money started coming in enough where we could go, okay, well, let's structure it like this so that we can have a longer term view as to what we want this to be.
I think once we became a bit more consistent with our output and the performance, that sort of made it a bit more, or seemed a bit more achievable to monetize it, because early on, as I'm sure other people have experienced, the nature of the algorithm is quite volatile, and like this sort of
changes.
And that's what spurred us to try and figure it out data-wise as much as possible. So I think once we were able to be a bit more consistent, then that made it seem a bit more possible for getting us consistently.
I was like, how does someone work that out? Like, there's a lot of people listening to this and watching this, and they'll be going, well, at what point do I start to think this is something worth monetizing, that I might have a chance, or is this just a frolic of my own and waste of bloody time?
I mean, in our situation, speaking for me personally, I think it was so valuable having a close friend, like one of your best mates of 20 years. That's a luxury that I'm sure not many people have as an option of turning it into a business. But it was something that I really enjoyed, and I'm sure we really enjoyed. And the thought of, like, I was studying economics, Jack was studying music and psychology. Like we were both interested in our degrees, but the idea of being able to turn this into a living was pretty enticing. And I think the excitement of the unknown of what the future might hold, and like Jack was saying, the other option of getting my economics degree and getting a corporate job, an economics job, whatever, that I was interested in that, but having something that was exciting and there was a bit of an unknown, that was a big motivator, I think.
So do you think that the excitement of it actually took you through the tough times?
Yeah, for sure.
We're constantly talking to each other about how lucky we are. You know, we flew up here and we're talking about how amazing it is we get to sit down with someone like you and talk about what we're doing. Like, it's like, you know, we're so lucky.
I'm thinking about the opposite. I'm thinking how lucky I'm to talk to you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. I am. Yeah.
We've seen the photos.
No, honestly, the only two groups of guys that I met like you, the only other group is Jack and Matt from Inspired.
Yeah.
I mean, the boys. I mean, like, you
great.
guys sort of sit in a similar category. I mean, they've turned out monetizing their business now too. Not just through Instagram revenues or YouTube revenues. I'm talking about product.
Sure.
That's what I mean by monetize, having a product. But I think the two groups are the sort of standouts. You know, particularly when there's two.
That's very kind. But you know, those guys are incredible and amazing guys. Like, we've chatted to them and hung out with them, and we sort of try, can we ask a little bit of advice, like, you know, all this kind of stuff, because they were the first movers. Really, they sort of pioneered this whole thing
totally
in the social media space. So, like, you know, they're just like top of the tree, really.
You take inspiration from what they've done?
For sure.
Yeah. The way they've done it is fantastic, and I think that. But speaking to them, you wouldn't know beforehand, but like, we actually shared a lot of our comedic heroes, you know, because that's at the core of it, is what we're just trying to be funny, and who can make the other guy laugh the most is kind of like the game, right? And at the core of it, I think that's what we all want to do. But you know, there's all the and it ties back to the product that we've got here today. Like, that's also in that orb of what we're trying to achieve, but. It's great meeting these people, and then, you know, you meet people in another generation like Hamish and Andy or something, who have just absolutely generational talents and things like that. You know, so it's an honor to be in the not even in the same room, just like looking through the window.
Well, you're in the same room.
You know,
both those groups have been, as you just mentioned, have been in this room.
Okay. I can smell them. I can smell them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I understand that they're. From what you're just saying, like, there's something you aspire to, you get a fair bit of motivation out of it. But when you did speak to the Inspired Unemployed guys, maybe you could share with the audience something that I noticed about them is how business-like they are. I mean, like, seriously business-like behind the scenes. Yeah, sure, they fuck around and they've been funny and they're mucking around. Like, it looks like they're just having a whole fun time, but behind the scenes, they're very focused on running their business, like extraordinarily focused on running their business. Do you guys walk away from those sorts of meetings? And by the way, Hamish is the same. Hamish Blake, like, it's the same deal, like extraordinarily business minded.
Yeah.
Do you guys walk away from it and go, wow, we got to be a little less funny, a little less mucking around, and a little bit more serious about the business? Did you find that?
Well, I'm sure you would know, and anyone listening would probably know, is that these guys had never just stumbled into their success like this. It takes just bashing your head against the wall until you find a way through. And it's kind of nice knowing when you meet these guys that there's no real secret or like hack. It just takes years of going for it and keep going for it. And the thing that Isaac was saying before is I think that, that is lucky for us is that we're two best mates that have known each other for 20 years and we're creating this thing together. And honestly, that's a large part of the ability to keep going when there is a tough time or when things aren't going right or this kind of thing. But it's a testament to, these guys you've mentioned and yourself and anyone else who's trying to make stuff happen is you just got to have the grit to keep going. I'm not saying with soldiers at a war or anything, but it's like, it's your own thing. If you stop working, everything stops. There's no team to pick it up.
Yeah, but that's interesting that you just mentioned there's 3 groups that you just talked about, Hamish and Andy, the Inspired Unemployed and yourselves, and their partnerships. And the other ones have been quite enduring, particularly Hamish and Andy. They've been around a long time. How important is it, do you think, for success in the business that you guys do, particularly when it's comedy, entertainment, that you have 2 people? Like you work and run off each other.
Clearly very important given the success of those groups you've just mentioned. But I think, being able to probably 60-70% of the funniness that we end up putting on screen or in the podcast comes out of conversation. And there's a fair bit you can do staring at a wall and typing away and having as solid as a think that you can. But so much of the good stuff comes from playing it out with someone else. And
how does that happen? How do you do that?
Well, one of us will just come with an idea, whether it's for a sketch or a podcast segment or a project like Smartass. How do we find the name? What product are we going to do? And you sort of, and we've seen it with, like, we have heroes like the Simpsons, the writers from the Simpsons or the writers from South Park, and you see them in the writers' room and the brilliance that comes from their back and forth. And there's so much that's in your individual brain that is only able to come out through getting squeezed out with someone else. So I think the back and forth just takes you to a place that your imagination wouldn't take you to yourself.
Would you put it down to like one cuts, the other one sews, like you're opposites or you're the same? And is one testing the other one? Or for example, Isaac, do you come up with the idea and then, you wait for the idea to be cut down by Jack, or Jack says, oh, no, that's a good idea, but why don't we do this, this, and this as well? I mean, how's it work? Because a lot of people try to do this stuff on their own. And I reckon it's bloody hard.
For sure.
So tough.
And particularly in the environments of Insta and TikTok, all the digital stuff where you got to be on it. You got to be doing it a couple of times a day. You got to do it 7 days a week, all year. It's sort of consistent and constant, and it's big pressure. And you can easily either get Jack of it,
or Isaac of it, depending who you are. Yeah,
too quick. See, or alternatively, it can become boring for you. And if you're bored, I'm going to be bored looking at you. I'll guarantee it.
Yeah.
I mean, how important is 2 people? Because I don't know anyone who's really successful at this. I mean, the old stand-up comedians, they're all pretty good, but that's just a one-man show type thing. I think what you're doing is it's definitely 2-man, or 2 people. It's in that sort of combination. And then when times are tough as well, when something goes wrong, or you have a bad week, or you have your missus leaves you, or your girlfriend leaves you, or whatever the case may be, it might be a boyfriend. And so I don't want to make
We are from the inner north of Melbourne, so don't assume.
What does that mean?
The hipster central.
Yeah, so but I mean, you need someone to lean on. How important is that? I mean, and at what point do you go, fuck, I better be careful I don't muck this up with my mate?
That's a great. We speak about this very often. I came up with this concept called the orb of, so we're called Swag on the Beat. It's the group name. And this orb is kind of like the idea of when it's shining brightly, it means the company's going well and we're feeling good. We're getting along with each other.
The ideas are free-flowing.
And the idea is to protect the orb. And when we make a decision about anything, if it's a creative idea or a financial decision we have to make, it's like, can we ensure that the orb is being healthier because of this decision? And you want the orb to glow. And it kind of is this nice sort of metaphor that allows us to visualize the health of the company or the health of our relationship in the company.
And you can really feel when the orb is dim, when we're sort of, there's so much going on and we haven't paid enough attention to our relationship or to the things that that excite us. And there's a lot of stuff to do with the business, with the podcast, whatever we're doing. And you can sort of feel when the orb isn't emanating as much. And then we go, okay, hang on a sec, we need to nurture this orb. We need to get it back up to a place where if the orb is booming, then we're going to feel more flowy and the ideas are going to come more naturally, and it's going to help. It's going to emanate through everything else that we're doing. And it's kind of, I mean, I'm sure it applies to business, relationship, for whatever your situation is. But whatever the crux of what makes this work, makes our relationship or makes this business work, which is our friendship and us being feeling comfortable to present ideas and comfortable to.
He's laughing.
It's nice to hear. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The orb's shining right now. We've got a bright light over us. It's feeding the orb.
Calls, everything shines.
But I think that's something. The orb's got a good reception.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think whatever
that's interesting
it is,
that you third party that. It's sort of like a neutral. The orb is a neutral thing, give a third party response to it. I don't think it looks too good.
Yeah,
you're not saying I feel like shit.
Exactly. Yeah, yes. And then you don't have to sort of, if you're in a space where you don't want to say, well, I need this, I need that, or this is how I feel like this. It's kind of a way that you can say, hey, well, we need to pay more attention to the orb. How can we do that? Well, let's talk about this. Let's put more time into this aspect, whatever it is.
You've actually done that, for real,
for real, yeah.
We didn't make this up on the way in.
Wow.
Yeah. But, to your point about, people that are maybe listening and thinking, how do I start something? But I think what is manifest in the orb as a metaphor is that we both trust each other so much that we both are absolutely dedicated to trying to make this work. And we both know that of each other. And that trust allows for that orb to exist in a real way. Because it might sound silly to someone. Listen, I understand that. It's like a weird sort of metaphor thing, but it represents the trust that we have, that we're both doing our absolute best. Because when there is hard times, we can both look at each other and go, well, I don't think that's the right decision that you're making. But we both know that the only goal of the other is to make this collective thing that we have created better.
I actually believe in it.
We believe it, and it's.
I'm serious. I'm not shitting you. I'm thinking that's pretty clever.
It's unbelievable how much that's correlated with things going well and the orb feeling good. It's like flicking a switch.
It's like you were saying before about if we're trying to do comedy online, but we're not in a good place together, or we're not feeling up to it, that will shine through, and people will. If we're not having a good time, the listeners will, or the viewers will be able to see that.
So they'll sense it straight up.
For sure. Yeah. And especially when you're trying to do something like relatable, observational humor, you need people to be able to put themselves in your shoes and have a good and see that you're having a good time, to allow themselves to get in the world of having a good time.
So this goes right down to how effective your stories are. How important is that to build the brand? Because everyone's going, I've got to build a brand. Everyone wants to build a brand, a personal brand, or in your case, a dual brand, in order to monetize at the end of the day. How important are those elements, and how did you guys work out which way to go? So Comedy Week, I get that bit, but what's relevant? What are you going to talk about tomorrow, the next day, the next day? Where are you getting your data from? What are you reading to find out what's relevant? You have taken the piss out of politicians? Are you taking the piss out of Trump? What are you doing?
What's relevant is an interesting term, because, the thing that keeps us interested and motivated to keep making whatever it is, if it's a product, a podcast, or a sketch or whatever, is does it light a fire for us? And what we realized early on is when people, because the interactivity of social media and it's in its nature is that people can talk to you and you go, well, we can just keep building and building the community of swag. It's meant for the people that watch it. That's the only reason we do it, because we're having fun and we want other people to join in on the fun that we're having, because it feels selfish to just hang out and have fun ourselves. But it's like,
no, that's cool. You're sharing it.
Yeah. And it's like, it's hard to explain want to build a personal brand so I can sell something. It's more like, do something that you love, and then the extension of that becomes what might be the monetizable thing if you're strategic with it in a way. Because we couldn't tell you how many offers we had to start products with companies that would approach us. Because obviously, as you said before, like the Inspired guys did they had their beer in 2021.
Better be.
And then, if we're in that world, the other companies just came to us and said, "Oh, do you want to do a seltzer? Do you want to do all these other products?" And we were kind of, well, that's not our bag. That's not what we feel is interesting or exciting. And this particular product felt like that bridged the gap for us, because our ethos with what we make is we want it to be accessible to everyone. 5-year-olds and 95-year-olds can listen and watch us. And we thought, well, everyone's got an ass, so everyone can use Smartass toilet paper. So it's like an extension of the silliness and fun that is inclusive of what we'd already been doing. And that's why it felt like the right thing for us to produce and be a part of. And it's got all these ESG and ticking all the boxes humanly possible, which we also care about. But I guess to answer your question is, if you find where the passion is, then like the money stuff, it'll present itself, and it presented itself for us. Rather than starting with like, I want to have a Bugatti and sell widgets.
Yeah, and it's funny because what I got out of what you just said is you were just being authentic.
Yeah.
I mean, doing what you love doing for a start. Before this, before the toilet paper, in terms of building your audience, it's about doing what you authentically liked between the two of you.
Yeah,
you didn't push anything. You weren't trying to bullshit yourself away around the audience. I mean, and to some extent, you sort of blended to the audience. You knew what the audience liked, so you played to that. Yeah. But it had to be something that you authentically believed in as well.
Yeah, but that's the first step.
Yeah.
It's like, here's this idea that we believe a lot of people would like. How can we present it in a way that works? Because if you go back and watch the earlier episodes before they were movies of Monty Python, you go, those ideas are great, but you would never present them like that now. Because they'll take they're like 7-minute sketches that you would just have to cut so much of it now to get cut through now, and they're brilliant. Like, they're obviously generation defining comedy sketches, but the presentation is so different now. And that's just the evolution of media.
You've sort of raised a number of really well-known comedians. Would you consider you both students of that stuff? Because the reason I say this is because a lot of people don't do much research when it comes to branding. And do you consider that your research is on the go all the time, always thinking about, these sorts of famous, iconic things that, how do I what was important about that? What was the essence of that particular thing? Why was it successful? How can we build that type of success into what we're doing, you're doing? Yeah. So that research element and staying on top of this sort of stuff all the time, is that a big deal?
For sure. And I think ever evolving, and a lot of it along the way has just been...
Is it evolving or refining? What?
I suppose...
Maybe both.
Yeah, maybe both. I guess it's a lot of trusting our gut, and because we grew up watching the same things, and we grew up watching, whether it wasn't deliberate when we were kids watching it, but we gravitated towards things that were inclusive and were understandable and it didn't make fun of any demographic or whatever, and that was just naturally the type of things that we watched. So,
and that's your generation too,
for sure. And that's how our content developed. And alongside that, we sort of started being a bit more deliberate, or recognizing why are we doing this? Why do we like this kind of stuff? And so it was a lot of. We would see there's a lot of comedy that delves into the rude stuff, which is fine, and there's a market for that. But we sort of would maybe think about dipping the toes in, and it just didn't feel right. And we would look at each other. It was like sort of early days of the Orb before we knew it existed, but it would just inform our decisions. And we would say, well, we like, it doesn't feel good for us to make something that someone might not enjoy watching or might feel attacked. So it was a lot of. This is the stuff that we consume, the Monty Python, the Simpsons, all that stuff, and very wide-ranging appeal. And then that informed our decisions about what we were including in our content.
Can we just quickly talk about your product? So, I mean, it's easy just to go, some toilet paper, but there's a number of things I'm noting here. So let's just talk about the colour of the packaging first.
Yeah, okay.
Why this color? I don't even know what color that is. I mean, I'm sure it's got some sort of color code.
Pantone.
Pantone, yes.
Well, if you walk down the aisle at a supermarket, the only colors you see in aisle 12, which is this toilet paper aisle, are blues, whites, and purples.
Would there be a reason for that?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Whatever the reason for is the reason that we went with the contrary.
Yeah.
Something that would stand out.
And because we know if people delve deeper into what we've made here, the differences are as stark as the color.
I do want to delve into that.
Yeah.
Because not everyone's not going to make that. They're not going to have that assumption.
Sure. And, and the name is felt like a fun, swag-esque name that is cheeky, but also why is it smart? Why is it ass? All these kind of things. Like the product has smarts to it, but it's also the ass and the silliness of swag. So it felt like this nice little bridging. So you get people with the color, then you get people with the name. And if they care, then they have more reasons to pick it up. Because when you walk down at a supermarket aisle, the percentage of toilet paper you see, whether if it's Quilton or Sorbent or whatever it is, that is the exact percentage of the market that they own or that they have access to in the sales.
Right.
So
just so I understand that, Jack, what you mean, the amount of shelf space that
correct.
the supermarket allocates to them is based on the amount of stuff that they normally sell.
Correct.
In other words, demand.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the amount of.
So the supermarket says, we've got much more demand for, I'll call it Quilton for argument's sake.
Yep.
Therefore, we're going to give it more shelf space.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And if you can walk down the aisle, 85% of the market
aisle 12.
Yeah,
aisle 12.
Exactly. Is taken up by, it's sort of the big three, the Quilton, Kleenex, Sorbent, and the vast majority, or 85% of the market is made from virgin product, which is cutting down trees. And so there's a small
Is that right?
85%.
And the majority of the recycled toilet paper that's on Australian shelves is shipped from overseas, places like China and Indonesia. So there's a very small amount of the toilet paper in the aisles that are made in Australia, and ours is made in a factory in Melbourne down the road from us, and it's made from fully 100% Australian sourced recycled materials. So
this is the only factory that does that in the country.
Wow!
So if you're having a recycled toilet paper come to your mind, we're going to say the name.
Yep,
they're from overseas.
Right.
Most likely. Most likely.
Yep.
So that's the point of difference that got us in, because we're like, this is a good thing. And we've had offers from 10 or 15 different products that want to work with us. And this is the one that we approached actually and said, we believe you guys are doing a great thing. We want to be involved.
But we'll rebrand something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So the color is to stand out in the aisle because they're all purples, blues and whites.
I think our designer used the term disrupt the market.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that's the color. It's not plastic.
No plastic.
Those people looking, this is paper.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no bleach. No bleach in the toilet paper.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. So I'm not getting any peroxide on my ass when I wipe my butt.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
FSC
what's that
approved.
What's that mean?
It's just that's the bleach and the health standards of the product. The responsible sourced materials, ethically sourced materials.
Right. So this is ethically important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look. I'm looking at Isaac, and both of you got you both have a very believable look in your eyes when I say that, because
the main, I believe, to people that are listening, and if you're walking down the supermarket aisle, it's in every Coles in the country at the moment, and you're considering, and you see the red, and you're considering it. I think the main point that we can say is that we were offered so many different products, and we said no to at least 9 or 10. And this is the one that jumped out.
Why yes, though?
Because it hit all those marks that we think are important.
And what are they?
They are, the two big ones are, it is the most sustainable toilet paper available in the country.
What does sustainable mean, though, Jack?
It is not cutting down virgin products.
Yep.
Okay, so nothing is cut down. We have a pile of about, it's like 50 tons of paper in Melbourne at the factory, and it is all sourced from wasted paper in Australia. If it's office paper, if it's other toilet papers, that's what we use to then create the toilet paper. So it's a completely closed loop system. And the other factor is it's all within Australia. So we're only employing Australians. It's supporting the local economy. And obviously it's like tough times globally. This is like a safe haven of okay, we're trying to support the Australians and local people and local produce and the people that we collect the paper from as well.
What's really interesting to me about that, by the way, the more people can maintain Australian products made in Australia and keep the price normal, but at the same time, maybe add the ethical piece to it, because I think everyone's becoming much more ethically aware.
Sure.
Much more ethically aware.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're the product attributes. I guess the most important thing then for me, because once you get your product right in business, and I talk about this all the time in my playbook about understanding what the market wants for your product. It's not about what you two want. It's what does the market want? Just a bit like your audience.
Exactly.
You said before, we know what our audience wants because we look at where the response are. We do analyze the data.
Yeah.
As opposed to shoving down their throat what you think's funny.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't work. You won't get any followers. You might have a bit of fun, but you're not getting the extra bit of fun with, wow, we've increased our numbers.
Yeah.
But there must be a market of people who want this product. Have you done that work?
We have access to those numbers from the manufacturer, and we've a massive thing. While a lot of people now are getting more ethically conscious, sustainability conscious, the number one, because it's such trying times with the cost of living, the number one factor is the price. And then very closely behind that is the quality of the product.
So if the prices can be sort of the same, if you're in the money, then people will go for the quality.
Which they are with Smartass. And also the kind of the general consensus with recycled toilet paper is that it feels like sandpaper. It's not soft. I want to be ethically conscious, but I don't want to have to do it at the expense of comfort. But again, with Smartass, it's like the way that the factory in Melbourne makes it. It's that it's as soft, if not softer, than the virgin product. We even did a blind test on the morning show a few months ago, and like a blind field test with the hosts, and they picked ours over one of the big brands' 3-ply virgin product. So that's what drew it to us, is that we know that people don't want to compromise on quality and on price. So if we can do this awesome product that's recycled, made in Australia, but compete on price and quality, then it's a no-brainer.
And how hard was it to get it on the shelves?
Well, I mean, after the launch of the product, it was just online, and we were like, okay, sales, it's good. This is going well. We're happy with this effort, and return is happy with that. And we started saying to the manufacturer, how do we go about the supermarkets? Because that's obviously the goal. And they're like, tough, multi-year process, blah, blah, blah. And then by whatever lucky strike of lightning, we got called up into HQ by Coles and said, hey, we like what you're doing. Do you want to come into Coles? And
wow.
That's how we started. And that was when was that? November?
It was
last year.
Yeah.
6 weeks after launch.
Yeah.
You only launched last year?
Yeah.
September last year.
Whoa.
So we had a nice leapfrog moment there, which is great. And then,
Jack, what was it that do you think it spurred them on to giving you a call? Were you killing it online, or?
We were selling, but I think it's the core of the product. We worked really, really hard to make sure that we weren't taking any shortcuts, because it was a process of almost, a year or longer to get it to where we wanted it to be. And I think that they would have researched it and they found, okay, well, we haven't cut any corners here, because one of the mantras of the orb, as if we go back to that, is like, don't do it in halves. We're going to do something, make sure you are allocating enough time to do it properly. So we assume it was maybe because of that.
And they've said that it's a bit of a disruptor. The color, the name, it's sort of a little bit of a risk with the name, putting sort of a half swear word in there. But they really liked that, and it catches your eye and it captures your attention. And you look at Smartass wrapped in that red and yellow, and you go, well, what's this? Let me have a look at that. Yeah. And I think that is what captured their attention initially, and that's what they thought, well, that's probably going to have the similar effect on
I think that probably what they also like the fact is that you support your product in terms of marketing with all your audience.
For sure, that was handy.
And that you're probably going to draw people from your audience who might not necessarily go to Coles or Woolworths. There may be a demographic in your audience that they don't ordinarily see, or who don't ordinarily hang out too much in supermarket environments.
Aldi gang. Get the Aldi gang back over.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about the name.
Sure.
Smartass. Any trepidation at any stage about that name? Did you think, maybe it's a bit too hard?
Well, yes, there was.
Who did you test it on?
We actually did another spreadsheet of data
extensively.
The main debate, Mark, was it was at ASS or ARSE, because on Australian English, based in the English from London, is ARSE is the more appropriate spelling
from our point of view,
and the way that we would have said it.
Yes, yeah. So what a good thing to do was we went through people's phones and typed in ASS in their search bar in their text messages and see how many results there were, and then ARSE and see how many results were there. So
what'd you get?
ASS seemed to be winning.
Really?
80% plus. Yeah.
Winning what? What did you ask it?
Higher percentage usage ASS versus ARSE in people that we tested their search bar on in their text messaging.
Very American.
The younger generation is definitely using the ASS more so.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the play on Smart though?
Well, the Smart is all of the factors we've been speaking about and why it's a better product and why we believe it should be a no-brainer for people to pick up. But no loss, no financial or,
Did you trademark the name?
Quality lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the arse is us, the comedy part, bringing the arse, and the smart is all the, wipe smarter, not harder. Be a Smartass when you use this toilet paper.
What's the next stage? I mean, what are you thinking about after this? I mean, do you think, this worked? Maybe we should put out a soap. I don't know. What's going through your head?
Well, this officially launches in Coles this week, which is great. But the beautiful thing about toilet paper is every person needs it, no matter where they are. So that's at home and also at the office or at work or wherever they are. So we're actually talking to the government, and they've invited us up to Canberra to talk about. We want it to be Australia's toilet paper, and we want it to be in every single public building in the country.
They are saying, or you were saying?
Well, that's what that's
your pitch
to do, and that's our pitch.
Yep.
And we can supply that, and we're really excited and keen to make that a reality as our current next step, which I know is different to what you're saying. It was probably like having different SKUs or different types of products within it. But I mean, we've got the factory there. So I mean, like making hand towels, making tissues and things like that is on the horizon, sure. But we want to really nail this
Stick to your lane for the moment.
Just for the moment, yeah.
Yeah. How did you finance this sort of stuff? I mean, or is it done, get paid in advance? I mean, how do these things work? Funding?
Well, I mean, we're in partnership with the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So they're doing that part of it, and we're doing the marketing.
But Coles and Woolworths Coles don't pay you immediately, do they?
Oh, it comes in at a certain
90 days or
per year, 4 times a year, or so.
4 times a year,
installments or something like that.
So you got to. So you must have done a deal with the manufacturer. Said, look, we'll pay you when we get paid. Or I mean, just for people listening. So how do you bridge that gap?
Right. Well, the manufacturer manages the relationship with the supermarket.
Yep.
And so that negotiation happens
between those
two parties happy.
So someone's matching money out the door.
Yep.
And with money coming in the door.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So it's either one of the two or both together.
Yep.
So, but because that's a big deal, because if Coles said, listen, we want 100,000 of these, and they say cost you $1 each, you got to pay someone $100,000. Or your manufacturer is going to say, well, you got to pay me in 30 days. I'll give you the $100,000. But I get paid in 30 days.
Yeah.
But then Coles might say, well, we won't pay you for 90 days, which means you've got a $100,000 gap for 2 months.
That's totally between the manufacturer and the supermarket to work out.
How important is it for you now to lock in your manufacturer?
Extremely.
Yeah.
And we are.
Yeah.
And they're great.
They're listening. Time to do a deal.
No, we like them.
No, because they love you too, because they're now selling something they probably would not otherwise have been selling.
Yeah, it's great. And they're passionate about the same thing, the same reasons we're passionate about it, they are too. So it was just a great meeting of likeness.
So if I don't know, Sorbent or whoever these other manufacturers come along and say, hey, boys, you guys are killing it. You're disrupting our market. We'll buy you.
Right.
What would you say?
Depends what the next sentence is, probably.
No, he says no, you say yes.
Well, that's an interesting. Well, focus on the your say.
Yeah, but the Oracle of Delphi. I feel like I'm sort of going into the mountain of Delphi and looking for the Oracle. The Pythia, and she used to sit there and sniff the gas coming out of the thing and carry on with a whole lot of shit and tell people whether they should go to war or not. That's what it's sort of like, like. I wonder what the Oracle says.
We sit on the toilet, we sniff the gas, and then we make the decision from there.
So I know it's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I just sort of throw it out there because they're things you need to start thinking about.
Yeah, well, I think it feels like it's definitely not on the radar at the moment, just because it's been such a long lead up to when we release it that we feel like that we've got so many ideas of what we want to do with this and where we want to take it. And it's exciting thinking about everything we can do. Like we've just started quite recently and we've hit the ground running. We're excited about trying all these different things. So I think even if that opportunity came, it would feel like it's too early to get out because we've got so much.
No, I'm not saying get out. But I'm just thinking about the future. Because like I always take the view, if you're going to build a business, then you better start thinking about what your exit is day one. And that's a lesson I got from Kerry Packer.
Right.
You know, like always be ready for sale the whole time.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, and because there's two of you. Where it's two of you, it's more of a problem because one might want to and one might not want to, or reverse around the other way. And you need to be. That's where the orb. Really, I'm serious now, but your joint intentions need to be the same. And people change.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you different pressures or family or whatever. You know, your life might go in a slightly different direction, and that's where the Matt and Jack from the Inspired Unemployed. That's where Hamish and Andy. They'd be brilliant. They've sort of everything has stayed together, irrespective of the completely different lives to their wives and families. Not so much the young boys, but definitely Hamish and Andy.
Yeah. Well, it goes to show they've been 20 years or more now.
Yeah.
You know?
So, like, there's lessons to be learned to newer people in this game from that. And and I'm going to be watching with a great deal of interest what you guys do. Well done. Congratulations. By the way, you've got amazing digital following, like TikTok, Instagram. Your shows are really funny. I looked at some of the stuff earlier on. You know, you're both really funny. Your product, I love the product. I think it's
cool.
I think it's a great product. I really do.
Thank you.
I really do.
Nice.
And I think it's well positioned for yourselves, and you've explained it amazingly. And I just something is really special is when two people who grew up can hang out together and do something together. That's really special. It's amazing.
Yeah,
especially born out of COVID. That's even better.
Yeah.
So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having us. We're honoured to be here.
It's
very cool.
It's amazing. And if you leave this one behind, we'll put it in our bathroom.
Okay, great. Yes. You can, let us know how it goes.
Thanks, guys.
No photos, though.
Definitely no photos. Well, actually, if we could do one, it's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But when I then spied on boys, I drank their beer out of a shoe. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with your product.
Oh, yeah, that's a tougher one to do publicly. Yeah.
I did a shoey for them, but we could try something funny about this.
A wipey.
Thanks, guys.
Nice
Cheers,
one. Thanks so much.